CJ Stroud's journey is straight up legendary, and he really flipped the script from a very dark upbringing. As a kid, he watched his dad get locked up right in front of his eyes. Fast forward, he's at Ohio State and he got death threats. So talk about a tough ride. But there definitely hasn't been anything tough about his NFL career so far, and as a rookie, he's been smashing records and making waves like we haven't seen in a decade.
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud.
Costing him 74 yards. The throw on time. The touchdown.
Lex horses. Oh yeah, horses. My bad.
Stroud makes the connection with Brown, straddling the sideline. Does he have the angle? He does! Touchdown!
So even with the tough times that happened in CJ's childhood, he's always been all about that QB life since day one. While other kids were on average able to throw the ball about 25 yards, he was able to double that, and more, pretty easily. In high school, CJ was a natural-born leader and looked incredible on the field, but back at home, it was a different story. The family lived in a small apartment above a storage facility and risked becoming homeless at times. No one would take us in. We didn't have anywhere to go. At one point, I was going to place my kids in different places because I didn't want them to be homeless, said his mother. This was a very unfortunate backdrop to the start of CJ's time at high school, where he had to make the most with old equipment, poor nutrition, and no private coaching. But he made up for this as best as he could, and I'm sure if you've been watching any football lately that you've heard the stories of how he would watch YouTube videos to improve his game, which is pretty incredible. These tough times undoubtedly proved how self-made Stroud was, and they helped mold him into the character he is today. CJ's father, Coleridge Bernard Stroud III, was his best friend. He taught him about the good, bad, ugly, and the sad. He was always honest with him, introduced him to sports, and just like any father, would help in any way possible to help his son achieve his goals. So CJ of course admired and looked up to his father, and he always encouraged him to believe in his potential to excel in anything he set his mind to. He used to have him write mock checks for $1 million, reinforcing his belief that he could become a top draft pick in any sport he chose. Amid these supportive moments, his father struggled with substance abuse, leading to a pivotal event in CJ's life. Unexpectedly, CJ received a phone call informing him that his father was in jail. This news left him feeling betrayed, furious, and questioning why it happened, feeling as if his father no longer cared about him. CJ often mentioned in interviews how his father was the closest person to him in his life. Losing your best friend in such a manner, especially when other kids have their fathers around, was a profound challenge, and even to this day, his father remains in prison. And despite not speaking for 8 years, his father's influence profoundly shaped CJ's final year at Ohio State and his overall life. But yeah, this situation sent the family into even more financial difficulties. I used to work 12-hour days, you know. I would do whatever I could to keep a roof over my children's head, and sometimes food was very scarce. CJ even said that he was making terrible decisions, a couple of life and death situations that woke me up from what I was doing, his mother recalled. But finally, he would turn back to sports to channel all his anger, and it showed in his final 24 games of high school where he would put up ridiculous stats, including 66 touchdowns and passing for over 6,000 yards. Real fast before I continue on, if you haven't yet, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly means the world. Anyways, CJ's play had colleges paying all sorts of attention to him, and eventually, we all know that he received an offer to be an Ohio State Buckeye, and this ultimately is where he chose to go. And with NIL deals starting to develop just in time for his arrival, he was able to absolutely capitalize on it, and he bought a few things for himself as soon as he got hands on money for the first time, and he deserved it. In his first year as a starter, CJ passed for over 4,000 yards and had 44 touchdowns, and achieved a 74% completion rate. Despite a very disappointing loss to Michigan and missing the playoffs, he finished 4th in Heisman voting, and facing criticism and personal challenges, he improved his relationship with his father. Entering his junior year, he became the first Ohio State quarterback with back-to-back 6-touchdown games, including against 11th ranked Michigan State with an 80% completion rate. The team's playoff hopes were revived after a USC loss. In the playoffs against Georgia, despite scoring 41 points, a terrible missed field goal led to another defeat. With over 8,000 yards and 85 touchdowns in 2 seasons, he finished 3rd in the Heisman voting. And then, he called it quits on college and declared for the draft. And he was of course going to be a lottery pick and ended up going to the Houston Texans, and then the rest was history. Nobody really expected anything out of the Texans this year, but they had the young talent to potentially do something. And the leadership and talent of Stroud has taken this team to new heights, and it's been pretty incredible to watch. At the time I'm recording this, Houston is currently 9-7, and if Stroud didn't miss a few games, they would most likely already have a spot in the playoffs. And they have a huge Week 18 game coming up against the Colts. So basically, the playoffs start early for them. But anyways, getting back to Stroud, he is the favorite to win Rookie of the Year by far, and midway through the season, he was even in MVP talks, which is unheard of for a rookie his age. But he's thrown for nearly 4,000 yards with 21 touchdowns and has only thrown 5 interceptions, and that's with missing time. His story is truly incredible and very inspiring, and I expect to see big things out of him for his whole career, and he's going to be in the league for a long time. He's just one of those guys that plays can't miss football, and all the recognition he's getting couldn't have happened to a better person, and he is a great role model for kids to look up to. He truly is the definition of making something out of nothing, and now he gets to enjoy his new lifestyle and has everything anyone could ever want in life, like new Lambos, any mansion, jewelry, and so much more. But I'm sure he would trade it all to get his dad back, and hopefully one day he gets to watch him play. But for now, Stroud is going to continue to play for him both on and off the field. One cool fact about CJ that you may not have known is that in his free time, he likes to get on his computer and go on YouTube to pick out beats to rap to, and according to him, he's pretty nice with it. Music is a big passion of his, and he's a fan of many of the old school rap legends. That's really all I have to say for this video. If you made it to this point, thank you all so much, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly means the world. And also, let me know what type of content you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.